Dale, loco, dale. No empieza mal, loco. Me hicieron esperar todo este mes. Un mes más. Bueno, espero que sea buena la expansión por lo menos, ¿no? Si hay mucho ruido de fondo es porque es la pava. No pienso ver este stream sin un mate. El anterior se me lavó. Dale, loco, dale, ¿viste? 2 minutos. Dale, pelado, dale. ¿Muteamos o no muteamos el teléfono? Encima te pone esta música tranquila de Lionel. Hasta que te parió. Oh, listo la pava, listo el mate. Ya está, mandalo, no importa. 20 segundos, ¿qué importa? Oh, yo lo dejo a todo lo que da, ¿eh? O le cambiamos, le bajamos el volumen un poco. No va a tener subtítulos, es lo único. Calidad 480 le manda el hijo de su madre. No, 480 no. Automática. ¡Oh, dale, mándale fruta! 2016 fue Atlas. ¡Oh! Mirá cómo se veía el juego cuando jugabas con DDTX9 y andaba bien el juego. Guerra del Atlas, cuando vino el Eldar. Bueno, la cagaba, viste en el video. Tentáculos en la barba. Conqueror. Qué chaposa esa parte. Ahora viene Papá Eldar, se murió todo, Me encanta la música de Maven. Qué grosso, mirá. Retiro. Ecos of the Atlas. Y ahora. Ay, caminemos todos en cámara lenta. La Maven le decimos en el campo. La Maven.
Hi, I'm Chris Wilson from Branding Gear Games. Thank you for joining us as we unveil Path of Exile's next big expansion, Siege of the Atlas. Since the Atlas of Worlds was introduced in 2016, we've released 3 large in-game expansions, each evolving Path of Exile's endgame in a different way. Today, I am proud to present our 4th endgame expansion, which launches on PC and Mac on February 4th, and on Xbox and PlayStation on February 9th.
Semana que viene.
Twitch drops are enabled for today's live stream, so
make
sure you follow the instructions below to link your account and be eligible to earn the Wasteland.
Okay.
Finally, we'll post the full patch notes as soon as the live stream ends.
Nice.
Let's check out the trailer
vamos a
for
estar
Siege
toda
of
la
the
noche
Atlas.
con esto, Preparen el café, loco. Let's go, baby, let's go. No, Sana. Murió Cyrus.
Is dead. Sana has chosen exile.
Se recalentó Sana.
But the Atlas of Worlds remains a beacon for eldritch horrors.
Pero si hicimos lo que ella pidió. ¿Qué
We
flashea?
imprisoned the Elder. We placated the Maven. We've been preparing for the arrival of another. But we never expected Thor.
Obvio que van a venir 4, papá. ¿No entendiste nada de
They
Path of Exile?
embody insatiable hunger. Crushing darkness.
Wow.
Searing flame. Merciless
El papá
wrath.
del Elder.
If we don't stop them, they will consume everything. This is a war for our very existence.
¿Cuántas máquinas hay? ¡Oh, por Dios!
stand with us, or we will all perish.
Es un poco confuso. Bueno, ¿podemos volver a poner la canción de Maven?
The events in Siege of the Atlas take place after the defeat of Cirrus. With Zana leaving to pursue her own agenda, Commander Carrick has taken responsibility for defending the Atlas and Rayclast against whatever eldritch horrors might arrive. Because Oriath was decimated by both Katava and then Cirrus, Carrick has moved several map devices to an isolated island in the Karui archipelago and has established a militia in order to prevent another event like the Cirrus incident. In this expansion, you will join Carrick's militia and will be asked to scout the front lines of the Atlas for threats. After encountering the Maven, you will learn that 2 more eldritch horrors like her or the Elder are on their way to the Atlas. Unlike her though, their intentions are driven by the need to consume absolutely everything they encounter. You must learn what you can do about these entities and attempt to prevent the existential threat they pose to Rayclast.
Son devoradores de mundos.
In Siege of the Atlas, the 2 new eldritch horrors are the Searing Exarch and the Eater of Worlds. These are similar to other pinnacle Atlas bosses of the past, such as the Elder, the Shaper, the Maven, and Cirrus. You will hunt down these 2 bosses and their sub-bosses, the Black Star and the Infinite Hunger. You will be able to pursue both eldritch horrors at the same time, but you can choose which you are pursuing on a map-by-map basis. In mid-tier maps, you'll randomly encounter the influence of either the Searing Exarch or the Eater of Worlds. The Maven understands the threat that these eldritch horrors pose to her plans. She will modify your map device so that when entering maps, you can choose to add either the influence of the Maven or any eldritch horror you have encountered.
Qué quilombo.
As you run subsequent maps influenced by the Searing Exarch or the Eater of Worlds, the amount of influenced monsters in those maps increases as that eldritch horror gets closer to you. Eventually, you'll encounter either the Black Star or the Infinite Hunger, one of the sub-bosses. You must defeat that boss in order to continue progressing closer to the horror you are pursuing. These bosses have exclusive new unique items in their drop pools. You're likely to have encountered the influence of both horrors by this point and can choose which one you're pursuing in each map.
Bueno, copado.
Finally, in the highest tiers of maps, you will encounter the Searing Exarch or the Eater of Worlds themselves.
Son 2 devoradores de mundos.
If you are able to defeat these extremely difficult foes, they can drop their own exclusive new unique items and eldritch currency items, which we'll describe later in the livestream.
Eldritch currency.
Once you have slain the Searing Exarch or the Eater of Worlds once, you can then farm them. In order to do so, you must complete a series of tier 14 or above maps with that eldritch horror's influence applied. You'll eventually find a key that allows you to challenge the Black Star or the Infinite Hunger again. As this key to the fight is tradable, it's not a strict requirement that you slay this first boss, but the item rewards will strongly encourage you to do so. After continuing to farm tier 14 or higher horror-influenced maps, you will receive another tradable key to fight the Searing Exarch or the Eater of Worlds, giving you another shot at their exclusive rewards. In the last iteration of the Atlas, you needed to use Watchstones to both unlock new maps and raise the level of maps across your Atlas. This required grinding conquerors and managing the optimal placement of 16 different Watchstones. In Siege of the Atlas, we've removed Watchstones and have restored the hidden maps back to the base Atlas so they don't have to be unlocked over time. We've added much of the power from craftable Watchstones to Atlas passive so that you can still access the benefits you're used to without the busy work of managing Watchstones.
Ahora puedes ver todo.
Despite the era of Watchstones being over, we do really like the ability to raise the tier of maps on your Atlas, so that eventually all of them are tier 16. To this end, we have introduced Voidstones. You can earn up to 4 of these, 1 each from the Uber Elder, the Maven, the Searing Exarch, and the Eater of Worlds. Placing Voidstones on your Atlas will raise the tier of all of its maps, eventually making them uniformly tier 16. In Siege of the Atlas, we've removed the concept of Atlas regions entirely. This means that we're saying goodbye to regional Atlas passive trees and hello to a single gigantic Atlas passive tree.
Why? ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué?
Good old Path of Exile. This new tree has over 600 passives available to choose from, and you can earn 117 Atlas passive skill points by completing your Atlas. Each different map you complete the bonus objective of grants you 1 skill point. You can also earn some extra ones by completing the Maven's multi-boss fights. Whenever you allocate an Atlas passive skill, its stats apply to every map you run anywhere on the Atlas. Also, because it's much faster to complete earlier maps on the Atlas, your Atlas point acquisition is pretty front-loaded, letting you quickly establish an Atlas layout that helps you find and profit from your
Ya no
favorite
tenemos que hacer
content.
Maven para
We've
sacar
integrated some
los
skills from
pasivos
past
del
regional
árbol.
Atlas
Ahora es un
trees and
árbol
have created
genérico
several
para
new
todo.
ones, like secret operations, which turns some of the strongboxes you encounter into a new type of strongbox that drops scarabs. Corrupted Gaze causes abyssal jewels to sometimes drop corrupted with 5 or 6 modifiers rather than a typical 4. Every large Path of Exile expansion needs a new way to create the most powerful items in the game.
Para hacer un árbol
Siege of the
genérico,
Atlas
así puedes
introduces a new
tener
endgame
todo
item
en todos
mechanic
los
called
mapas.
Eldritch Implicit Modifiers. A problem we had with the old Shaper, Elder, and Conqueror influence system was that while the items were extremely powerful, they had to be crafted using highly specialized and complicated methods. A regular influenced item you found on the ground usually wasn't of much value unless it was a certain base type at a specific item level. Influenced items were generally not that useful in early, mid, or even most high-end maps, as they were basically a post-endgame feature. Our new system of Eldritch Implicits allows you to apply Eldritch mods to already good items that you have, so that you have a lot more freedom to choose how you create your best items. You can also start interacting with Eldritch Implicits much earlier in your mapping experience. As you know, Path of Exile items can have an implicit mod that either comes built into the item based on what type it is, or can be modified with systems such as Vile Corruption.
Claro.
Eldritch Implicits replace existing implicit mods, but with a twist. An item is allowed to have one Eldritch Implicit from the Searing Exarch and one from the Eater of Worlds at the same time. These implicits have many different tiers and several ways to interact with them. While playing maps in Siege of the Atlas, you may find some new currency items. Eldritch Ember and Eldritch Ichor, corresponding to the Searing Exarch and the Eater of Worlds respectively. These currency items can be applied to gloves, helmets, body armors, or boots, and overwrite the item's regular implicit mods with new ones from 2 special pools of powerful modifiers. As I mentioned before, an item can have both a Searing Exarch implicit and an Eater of Worlds implicit at the same time.
Los dos
Applying the
pueden
same
tener.
type of orb multiple times will overwrite the appropriate mod with the new random one.
Es súper poderoso.
These
eso.
gloves have a single Eldritch Implicit mod which grants you the ability to gain Rage on hit, rate limited by a cooldown. The best possible outcome is to have a tier 6 and a tier 4 mod at the same time. In order to achieve this, you'd want to apply the highest Eldritch Ember or Eldritch Ichor over and over until you have a tier 4 modifier that you want. Then use Orbs of Conflict to try to get it to tier 6, before using more Ember and Ichor to lock in the tier 4 mod of the other type that you're looking for.
Bueno, sí, es nuevo y es complicado y dale.
Domination matters for 3 new currency items we're introducing.
Oh,
The
Dios.
Eldritch Chaos Orb will reroll the prefixes of an item if it is dominated by the Searing Exarch, or the suffixes if the item is dominated by the Eater of Worlds. The same is true for the Eldritch Exalted Orb and the Eldritch Orb of Annulment, which add or remove a prefix or suffix depending on which
Me
horror
explotó la
dominates
cabeza,
the
loco.
item. Also introducing a pair of very rare aspirational unique jewels, Forbidden Flame and Forbidden Flesh. Each of these jewels drops from one of the 2 new Pinnacle Atlas bosses, and they are certainly unique in that they must work together to unlock their potential.
Okay.
They require the user of the jewel to be a specific class, and they roll with a modifier that specifies a random ascendancy skill from one of the
Uní esas
ascendancies
gemas por
of
el
that
amor
class.
de Dios.
If you are able to equip both a Forbidden Flame and a
Juntalas.
Forbidden Flesh jewel that specify the same skill, and if you meet the class requirement, then you will be granted that ascendancy skill. For example, if you're a Deadeye and find a Forbidden Flame jewel that specifies the Master Surgeon skill from the Pathfinder class, then upon finding and equipping a matching Forbidden Flesh jewel, you will gain the Master Surgeon skill. These jewels open up many new build possibilities for very late endgame characters.
Ok.
The favored map system allows you to find more of the
Bueno,
maps
vale
that
una
you want to
fortuna
play.
esas joyas.
In the old Atlas, there were 3
O sea,
favored
te
map
dan
slots available to unlock in each region. Now that regions have been
Te dan un
removed,
punto de
favored map
ascendencia
slots
de
can be
alguien,
unlocked by meeting
siempre y
various
cuando sean
objectives
los
like
mismos.
completing a tier 16 map or as you play through maps, you'll occasionally find Atlas scouting reports, essentially communication about important missions from other people who scouted the Atlas and didn't survive. These items can be used like a currency item to re-roll the set of mission maps that Kirik is offering you. These new maps have a different set of mission outcomes that includes valuable ones like guaranteeing a unique map, having all maps be corrupted, always including a Shaper Guardian, Elder Guardian, or Conqueror, having only uncompleted maps available,
cantidad de
or
cosas,
adding a
loco.
Breachstone to the selection. The value here is not only the re-roll of what is offered to you, but also the guarantee of one or more high-value missions.
Este mes al pedo me
On the Atlas
me
passage,
agarró
you can
amnesia
specialize
como
into
fue.
finding more Atlas scouting
Estaba jugando
reports
juego
or
de
unlocking
Play
new
2,
types that can
imagínense.
drop.
¿Estaciones de Maven?
Archnemesis is a challenge league that reinvigorates fights with rare monsters. It introduces around 60 new monster mods and allows you to customize your rare boss fights to control your level of risk and reward. These mods can be combined in over 35 recipes to create new, more powerful and rewarding mods. As you play through the league, you'll discover more recipes and learn how to best utilize them to get the most valuable rewards. When you slay regular rare and magic monsters in the Archnemesis League, they sometimes drop an itemized version of a new Archnemesis monster modifier. You store these in a dedicated inventory panel so they don't clutter your regular inventory. Over the course of each area you play, you'll encounter 4 monsters that are frozen in place, petrified and bound to an Archnemesis statue. When you find such a monster, you can free it by empowering it with an Archnemesis mod. If you're able to successfully defeat the empowered monster, then you will receive the fixed reward that corresponds to that modifier.
Okay.
The trick that makes this league awesome is the 4 petrified monsters per area. You see, the mods you apply will accumulate as you play through the area. When you empower your second monster, it also has the mod you applied to the first monster. This results in a fight that has twice as many dangerous mods and twice as many rewards. Even though you received the reward from the first mod when you killed the first petrified monster, you receive a second reward of that type when you kill the second petrified monster.
Okay.
The same applies to the third and fourth fights in the area as well. By the time you defeat the fourth monster, you'll have received the first reward 4 times, the second reward 3 times, and so on. This can then be applied to another petrified monster later on to complete further recipes. These recipe mods yield substantially more dangerous encounters and have more valuable rewards. Even if you're not completing a recipe with your modifiers, you can still combine them to get some ridiculous combinations of rewards.
Okay.
For example, defeating an innocence-touched enemy grants 3 currency rewards and converts all other rewards into currency. Defeating a mirror image enemy grants a divination card reward and rerolls all rewards 3 times, yielding the rarest result. Killing a flamewalker enemy grants 3 weapon rewards. Killing a toxic enemy grants a generic reward plus a gem reward.
Wow.
If you were to kill an enemy with all 4 modifiers, you get a total of 9 currency rewards, each rolled 3 times and dropping the best result. But if you apply the mods in the order mentioned above, then as you kill each of the 4 monsters in the area, you'll receive the earlier rewards multiple times.
Okay.
The end result is the equivalent of getting 60 currency rewards and receiving the best 20 plus 3 regular currency rewards. As you can see from this example, even the basic rewards that offer say 3 random weapons are really useful because you can combine them with reward conversion mods to take advantage of their high item counts. To be clear, this expansion does have a few of the usual nerfs to the most overperforming builds, but for the most part, the majority of balance changes are buffs. The goal is that players who play hit damage bow
no puede
builds
ser
and
que tenga
handcasting
45 on
spellcasters
hit.
are significantly more competitive.
¿Ya lo nerfearon? ¿En serio?
Alongside Siege of the Atlas,
madre.
we're introducing 2 new types of stash tab, one for flasks and one for gems. A side effect of this is that you're able to set your regular tabs to have affinity for flasks or gems, regardless of whether you've purchased the new specialized tabs. The gem stash tab allows you to easily store and sort your collection of up to 500
Ay, mi hermano mandó un audio, pero estoy
By
viendo
default,
el
it displays
video.
all gems stored. You can also use the drop-down to change the sort order between item level, base type, and quality. This allows you to quickly find flasks of a certain type, potential flasks to vendor for glassblowers baubles, or high item level flasks for crafting. Remember that regardless of whether you've purchased these new tabs, you'll still be able to set up affinities for gems or flasks on your existing stash tabs.
Métetelo en ¿sabe dónde?
Alongside the launch of Siege of the Atlas, we are hosting a
Está bien, el
competitive
juego es
event
gratis,
where
no sé
players
de qué
will
parte
race to be
digo.
the first to kill
Pero
a
métetelo
trio
en el
of
orto
bosses,
igual.
the Maven.
No les gusta llevar
We're almost
gente,
at the Q&A, but first I'd like to show you the new supporter packs we're releasing today to help
Che, no
fund
hablaron de
development
nada
of
y
future
no
Path of Exile
mostraron
expansions.
skills nuevos
Our new
tampoco.
packs are called the Worm and Emberkeep supporter packs.
Vamos a tener que jugar lo que
Like our recent
teníamos.
League packs, there are 3 tiers available, each of which include points equivalent to the cost of the pack, plus many exclusive cosmetic microtransactions like apparition effects, armor sets, weapon skins, forum badges, titles, and social frames.
Es más grande la
The
aparición esa
Worm
que el
series comes
personaje
with
en
an
sí.
exclusive pet, and the Emberkeep series comes with an exclusive weapon effect. These new packs are in addition to the 2022 core packs that we released recently. Remember to check those out if you haven't already. That concludes the reveal portion of this live stream. Keep an eye on our news next week as we unveil more details about the Siege of the Atlas expansion and the Archnemesis League.